Welcome to the J1 Exchange Visitor Rules and Regulations Overview. This presentation is to provide an overview of the J1 student status and aid in understanding immigration responsibilities for exchange visitors at Fairleigh Dickinson University. Welcome to the J1. The agenda for this presentation includes full-time study, records, maintenance of status, travel, employment, healthcare, program completion, and additional international student services information. The broad purpose of the Exchange Visitor Program is to promote international education and exchange in order to develop mutual understanding between the people of the United States and other countries. Exchange programs exist in a variety of formats and permit visitors to come to this country for a wide range of activities. This school's Exchange Visitor Program provides opportunities for study and research. Full-time study for degree and non-degree seeking exchange students. All exchange visitors attending Fairleigh Dickinson University must be engaged in a full-time study for the duration of their program. A full-time course load equals 9 credits for graduate programs and 12 credits for undergraduate programs. Student exchange visitors may be exempted from the full course of study requirement under the following conditions: authorized vacations, medical illness, a bona fide academic reason, final term of study, and academic training. Now let's look at each one in more detail. Authorized vacations. Eligible students may participate in official school academic breaks and summer vacations if they are currently attending and intend to register for the next term. A student enrolled in a non-standard term of study should consult the Office of International Student Services regarding annual vacation eligibility. Medical illness. If a J1 student is compelled to reduce or interrupt a full course of study due to an illness or medical condition, and the student presents the responsible officer, or RO, as listed on the DS 2019, a written statement from a physician requiring or recommending an interruption or reduction of studies. Should a medical incident occur at any point during your stay that requires an absence from study, J1 students should contact the Office of International Student Services as soon as possible for assistance. Bona fide academic reason. If a J1 student needs to pursue less than a full course of study, the student must present a written statement from the academic dean or academic advisor to the responsible officer that recommends that the student reduce his or her academic load due to an academic reason. Example of this would be English language difficulty. Final term of study. If a J1 student needs less than a full course of study to complete the academic requirements for their degree program. Academic training. If a J1 student is engaged in an authorized academic training period in accordance with academic training regulations, academic training and other employment options will be discussed later in this presentation. Although you have provided English proficiency results prior to your admission to FDU, you will be required to take the English for Professional Success, or EPS test. The exam will be given on site during International Student Orientation. Placement in EPS courses will be optional depending on your program. Maintenance of status. J1 exchange students are required to maintain their immigration status at all times during their program. Any changes to their physical residence location must be reported to International Student Services within 10 days of the change. Specific exchange visitor program questions and concerns should be addressed with the program sponsor directly. Maintenance of status continued. Each exchange visitor is issued a Form DS-2019 or DS-2019. This document is used to identify the name of the exchange visitor, their exchange category, and the purpose and the length of the exchange. All DS-2019s should be kept for the duration of the exchange visitor's stay and in the future as a record of the J1's time in the United States. Checking your FDU email account. You will receive notices from the Office of International Student Services through your FDU web mail account. These messages are very important. The I-94 arrival record. D/S stands for duration of status and refers to the program period listed at item 3 on your DS 2019. The definition of J1 duration of status is the period specified on the form DS 2019 plus a period of 30 days for the purposes of travel. This information may be located on or near your U.S. visa and stamped by U.S. border officials upon entry into the U.S. Each time you re-enter the U.S. on a J1 status, you will receive a new I-94 arrival number. You may visit cbp.gov for steps to review and obtain a copy of your electronic I-94 record of arrival. Maintenance of status for travel. DS 2019s include a space in the lower right-hand section for travel endorsement from the program sponsor, responsible officer, or alternate responsible officer. The travel endorsement, once given, is valid for a duration of 6 months. Please visit the Office of International Student Services or your program sponsor for questions regarding travel outside the United States during your exchange program. Maintenance of status continue. The home country physical preference requirement, or Rule 212E. Some, but not all exchange visitors are subject to the home country physical presence requirement. Its purpose is to have the home country benefit from the exchange visitor's experience in the United States. Each exchange visitor comes to this country for a specific objective, such as program of study or a research project. This requirement is intended to prevent a J1 participant who is subject to the rule from staying longer than necessary for the objective, and to ensure that he or she will spend at least 2 years in the home country before coming back to the United States for long-term stay. For the terms of the requirement, please see Item 1 on page 2 of the Form DS 2019. If you have questions about the requirement, including whether or not you are subject to it, please contact your program sponsor or the Office of International Student Services. Employment. Students may engage in 2 kinds of employment. Each kind of employment has its own criteria and limits. 1. Academic training related to the course of study. Or 2. Other employment related to academic funding, on-campus work, or economic necessity. Let's begin with academic training. Academic training is described as a training experience related to a student's field of study. Training is available before and after the completion of the academic program. The U.S. Department of State describes the primary purpose of academic training as an opportunity for a student to participate in an academic training program during his or her studies with or without the wages or other remuneration. Academic training eligibility. Academic training eligibility includes being directly related to the student's major field of study. It may be part-time or full-time. Approval must be given by the program's responsible officer or program sponsor, and the J1 student must be in good standing with the program sponsor or the site of the program. Eligibility continued. J1 students may participate in academic training for a maximum of 18 months. For undergraduate and predoctoral training, a student can engage in up to 18 months or a period of the full course of study, whichever is less. Any pre-completion academic training or training done before the end of the period of the program would reduce the time available on post-completion training. If you are interested in pursuing academic training, you should meet with the responsible officer at least 2 weeks prior to the anticipated start date of your work experience, or at least 2 weeks before the end date of your DS 2019 to discuss the process and your options in detail. Now let's continue with other J1 employment options. Other J1 employment options include on-campus employment and severe economic hardship. On-campus employment is employment pursuant to the terms of a scholarship, fellowship, assistantship, or employment that occurs on the premises of the post-secondary accredited educational institution the visitor is authorized to attend. Severe economic hardship is described as employment that occurs off campus, which is necessary because of a serious, urgent, and unforeseen economic circumstances that have arisen since the acquiring the exchange visitor status. The eligibility for other J1 employment options. The J1 student must be in good academic standing at the post-secondary accredited academic institution. The J1 student continues to engage in a full course of study, except for official school breaks and the student's annual vacation. Employment would total no more than 20 hours per week, except during official school breaks and the student's annual vacation. And the responsible officer, or RO, has approved specific employment in advance in writing. Such approval may be valid for up to 12 months, but is automatically withdrawn if the student's program is transferred or terminated. Now let's move on to healthcare and health insurance. Exchange visitors are required, as a condition of their J1 status in the United States, to carry health insurance for themselves and for their accompanying family members. Fairleigh Dickinson University operates health centers or clinics for students. Since it is supported by student fees, its services are available to students on both campuses. Healthcare and health insurance continued. By government regulation, the minimum insurance coverage for a J1 must provide up to $50,000 USD for accident or illness, up to $7,500 USD for repatriation of remains, for up to $10,000 USD for medical evacuation to the home country. Deductible may not exceed $500 USD for accident or illness. Coinsurance may not exceed 25% payable by the exchange visitor or the sponsor. Acceptable coverage may not exclude risk inherent in the activities in your exchange visitor program. The Fairleigh Dickinson University Medical Insurance Policy. International students on FDU's J1 sponsored immigration records are required to enroll in the FDU United Healthcare Medical Insurance Plan. J1 students who are sponsored by a government agency and are provided medical insurance through that agency may be eligible for waiver as long as their medical insurance meets the waiver criteria. At the start of each school year, students must visit firststudent.com and select Fairleigh Dickinson University to enroll themselves to have access to the health insurance benefits and services. Students arriving in the spring term will also need to visit firststudent.com and select Fairleigh Dickinson University to enroll themselves to access health insurance benefits and services. Now let's move on to program completion. After a J1 student completes the academic program, they will receive a 30-day grace period. During that grace period, the student may do one of the following: receive academic authorization, change immigration statuses, advancement of education level, and depart the United States. Receiving academic training authorization. Requests for academic training authorization must be applied for prior to the program end date. If you are interested in pursuing academic training, you should meet with a responsible officer at least 2 weeks prior to the anticipated start date of your work experience, or at least 2 weeks prior to the end date of your DS 2019 to discuss your process and your options. Change of immigration status. J1 students must inquire about changing status to something other than an F1 should consult a qualified immigration attorney. The example provided here is a J1 to an H1B status. Advancement of education. An example of this would be continuing from bachelor's to master's. The option is only available to degree-seeking students. Those not obtaining a degree from Fairleigh Dickinson University must travel to obtain new immigration documents. Additional information. The information provided in this presentation is not exhaustive and may change without notice. If you have any questions or concerns regarding your legal status in the United States, please make an appointment to meet with the responsible officer or alternate responsible officer in the Office of International Student Services. Location and contact information. ISS on the Metropolitan Campus is located at 841 River Road, 2 houses south of the Public Safety Building. We are open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Wednesdays, we are open from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. We have walk-in advising hours Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., where students may come into the office without an appointment to meet with an International Student Services advisor. Our phone number is 201-692-2743, and our fax number is 201-692-2177. The Florham Campus International Student Services Office is located in the Student Center and the Dean of Students Suite. Current office hours are Tuesdays and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Students are seen by appointment only at the Florham Campus.